good to be on this side of the table again, and political arena. Yeah, and I think last time was the Yusuf City Bill that was on this platform.
Million naira for local government chairmanship form. Now, the report has ignited, what's the report, from what's going on in APC in Ebonyi State, has brought up a widespread controversy, after announcing that the nomination form for local government chairmanship position will cost aspirants 30 million naira. Now, this was revealed by the party chairman, Chief Stanley Okoro Emega, and, it just goes on and on. The announcement came after a closed-door meeting with party officials from the state, 13 local government areas, and 171 wards. So apparently, 30 million naira fee covers both the expression of interest and nominations from chairmanship aspirants, and for councillorship forms, it is priced at 250,000 naira. Now, this is leadership position at the local level, costing 30 million naira. And this brings the question to 30 million naira for this, then how are we going to how are we women, going to afford this? Because this 30 million you're talking about is not chicken change, it's not 30,000, it's not 300,000, 30 million naira. Okay, so how do we want women to afford this? How do we want to up the number of women in political positions? Because up to now, we're still, looking at the reserved seat bill, like how far reserved seat bill up to now is just quiet on it. And we are still pleading and we're still hoping that this is passed so that it will even be a little bit of, it will take off the load or take off the stress on female politicians, at least to an extent. Now, this is coming from, APC in Ebonyi State. Now, imagine how many other states will take this up. Now, when you want to cross over from the local, level of, leadership positions, you take it a notch higher to the state level. How much would they then peg that at? And then we want to take it down to probably House of Reps or all of these, different positions that would be, out there very soon, as the election year is just around the corner. Then how are we supposed to see that women get there? Anyway, this and more are what we are going to be talking about. But please do well to let us know your thoughts on this, coming from Ebonyi, pegging this nomination form at 30 million naira. What do you think about this, coming all the way from ABC Ebonyi State? And how do we make sure that the amount that is being paid for this at least comes down, so that we have lots of women who can afford to do this? Because 30 million naira is no joke. What will other political parties come up with? What will other states come up with? Because this is just in Ebonyi State. And then let us know your thoughts on 07000 917 917 or 09155 917 917. Do well to send us WhatsApp messages to 07031756537. All right, Timana, let me bring you in on this. Reading through these reports, what are some of the things that came to your mind as regards this 30 million naira, cost of nomination forms? And you have the councillorship, being pegged at 250 in Ebonyi State. Before we even, talk about how about other states or even, other leadership positions higher than this.
2 years ago, the cost of governorship form in the APC, I think, was around 50 million. And Senate was about around 20 million. But now we're having ordinary chairman for 30 million. But you should understand that what political parties are doing now is to make it quite really expensive, based on the Supreme Court's ruling that grants local government autonomy and that states that allocation to local government coming from FAC must go direct to local government accounts. So they are seeing local government position as a very juicy one. But this is 30 million for me to just contest to get the form as a local government chairman. There's no guarantee that I'm going to win the election. We don't have the amount for me to run my campaigns and So when you're looking at it in general, for you to context, what they're saying in Nebo is that for you to context for a position as local government chairman, you must be looking at a fee of about over 100 million naira, because you have to put campaign funds and everything into it. And this is actually a very crazy one, because we are speaking and saying that political office must be made affordable so that everybody has a right to contest. But with the way money is being thrown around, with the way our money is being put on funds, I don't think political office is being made affordable for an average Nigeria. Now, if an average Nigeria running for the office of a local government chairman in Ebonyi is vomiting, because I won't say it's putting down, because now you have to vomit 30 million naira.
Yes,
vomiting 30 million naira. Are you sure you are going to get dividends of democracy back when I get into office? And these are the things that political party must put into context. Because it takes a businessman to look at if I put 30 million naira, or someone who works in the private sector who works hard for his money, not someone who works in government. It will take him to ask a lot of questions. Am I getting it right? If I put 30 million and I've not even spoken about money for campaign, how am I going to make this right? So it takes a whole lot, and then you look at it. I think the APC in Ebonyi are making the tickets, the funds. They are ordering the funds financially. I'm trying to pick words I will use. When I mean ordering the fund financially, they are making the fund less attractive to an average Nigeria. And when the fund is less attractive to an average Nigeria, then it's the same leaders that will be recycled. Because if you work hard for your money, and you have 30 million. For you to have 30 million naira to spare on a fund, you must have times 200 of that amount. And I don't think anybody will get into office spending a whole lot on campaign procurement of funds and would not look for how to get return on his investment. Because in Nigeria, we don't hold political office majorly for the people. We hold it for ourselves and to ourselves and our cronies. And then the people get what is falling from the table, just like the rich man and Lazarus are parable in the Bible. That is what happens. It's the average political class. When you look at the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, this is what we see. So I think at this point, I just hope they would intervene, because if we say that it's not for an ordinary Nigeria, now let's look at women. We are trying to encourage women to be part of the political process. Like I always say that when God created man, it got to a point God looked at it and saw that man must not be alone. Man cannot survive alone. That for everything he has created to be called beautiful, you need a woman beside the man. And that brought about the first creation of a woman. And since then, the world has based on man and woman beside each other. And don't forget, he said, help meet, and it is defined in different ways, but it is to complement each other. And one thing that has been lacking in our political space is the absence of women in key decision making our process. You look at it, I think about 15 states don't have a woman in the House of Assembly. You look at the number we have in the Senate. So I ask, who actually represent the interest of women, who are nearly 50% of our population? They don't. And that's why you see that a lot of legislation, even those that have been passed, doesn't really interpret what a woman wants and how women should thrive in the society. And we've been clamoring for this, that women ought to be involved more in politics. And we are telling them that since you've made headway in public and private sector, getting to leadership position, and for the good ones among you who have done work and has been a shining light, it is time for you to translate this into politics. But you look at the fee, at the blockage that has been put ahead of them with this fee. It's not going to be possible to have a lot of women in politics, because you either have a sponsor or you have extreme money. And I think when a woman has extreme money, she's not thinking about politics.
she is thinking about business and investment
because
women are
some of the best investors I've seen. Sometimes they think a whole lot
not only about profit but about
sustainability.
But when you look at us asking women to come into politics
and you look at what has been put before them, especially in Ebonyi State, because
if this
model is allowed to fly in Ebonyi State, other states are going to copy it.
Because 2 years ago,
2023 election,
20 million
naira was
the cost of procuring
a form under APC,
and I think 50 million
naira for governor and 100 million naira for president.
While the PDP pegged theirs at 40 million naira. And you look at what they're asking them to pay at this point. They're asking them to
pay 30 million naira.
So that means 2 years ago, if you have 30 million
naira, what you just need to do is add 10 million naira to it and go and procure the form
to run under PDP,
especially in the primary.
So this is not looking good
at all for what we are fighting for and what we are trying to bring into the limelight in 2027 election.
And I hope that there's going to be a rethink of this, because I learned that this was after our stakeholders meeting in Ebonyi State.
It is not setting a good example if we are putting out 30 million naira for a form to be local government chairman.
But Emmanuel, now going through this report now, we saw that the son of the former Ebonyi State governor, Osborn Umahi, that's the young man's name, 27-year-old, he purchased the form. He purchased the form, purchased the 30 million naira form to contest for Ohazora local government area chairmanship. Now, for this kind of person, now if you look at his track, or rather, if you want to take it back, his father probably is able to come up with that and is able to give him to go ahead and contest for this. Now, for an average Nigerian, like you said, there is no way to go about this. So this actually pegs the question of, okay, are you actually going there to see that this can happen? And for the fact that one person has bought it, that means you could actually sit down and say, okay, you would have people who would go and buy it. But are they buying it because they have the interest of people at heart, or they are buying it because they can afford it? And when they get there, they could actually have their own, return on investment, like you mentioned, because this is what all of this is looking like. And then when we want to look at it from the women's angle, the very few women that are occupying leadership positions now, if you ask them what they went through to actually get there, then it's something else. And then when they get there, because of what they've gone through, or because of the sacrifices they've made, or because of how they were able to run helter-skelter to raise this money to get there, how then do we expect them to be open to bring others, in that lane? How do we expect them to be open to the extent that they're able to hold another woman's hand and come? Instead, they'll tell you, say, now suffer reach here, see you can't work while I do reach here. You self go do them if you switch you. So you understand all of these things that would come up. So what do we then do, or how do we then go from here to help make all of this easy, especially as we want to have more women in political positions?
When they get there, holding another woman's hand and bringing her on board, or holding women's hand and bringing them on board, it's hard because they know what they went through. And for you to hold another woman's hand, you must either be ready to finance her. Just look at, for example, maybe a senator, a female senator that has interest in Ebonyi election, and is saying that, assuming they have a female senator that has interest in Ebonyi election, or a female politician, and he's saying that, I want to sponsor 5 candidates for the local government chairmanship position.
To procure the
form alone is about 450 million naira.
She's not talking
about the campaign.
So when you
break this down in it is very hard with all the traps that is being put out there for us to have women in politics. We need to encourage women to be in politics. See, you mentioned the fact that the son of the former governor has gotten the form. I knew about that since, and that just made me laugh, because there are two things that are involved that people don't understand, and I speak this to average Nigerians every day. See, if care is not taken, you will serve the father, you will serve the son, you will serve the grandchild.
and it becomes a template of slavery because history would mention them as old political posts to your children and great-grandchildren, and then they will immortalize them thinking they were the ones that made everything smooth. But in the real sense, they themselves are the architect of poverty and the ambassadors of poverty who will keep you, your children, your great-grandchildren, your great-grandchildren in poverty, and maybe a generation will struggle to break out by being part of them or by divine intervention. But we don't understand this. That's why I looked at politics and I look at the way some serve the father, some that serve the father for bread, are also serving the son for tea. So this is the irony of what we say. But our context this morning, having more women in politics and with the way that started in Ebonyi. Next year is general election. I think by May or so you should start seeing procurement of nomination form and expression of interest form, and then you see the fee. And if people don't speak out to what is happening in Ebonyi now, just for local government chairman, look at how much will senatorial form be an expression of interest, how much will a state governor be, how much will the presidency be. These are things we need to talk about because 30 million. I'm not Davido. For 30 million to contest local government election is actually crazy. And more women in politics means we have to ensure there is equal playing ground. We have to ensure that the level is the same. When some political parties wake up and then they tell me that form is 30 million naira, but we are giving discounts for women who will purchase the form to 50 million naira. I laugh. Some will tell women that for councillorship, we can take the form down, we can do this. I laugh. See, fair playing ground is the fact that it is affordable. See, my pride is that a man gets a form for 5 million naira, and I also pay the same 5 million naira. But you are not putting down a level playing ground when you allow a man to get a form for 5 million naira. Of 30 million naira, but because of the IP, and then because there's a lot of permutation, you are now asking also come and pay 10 million naira to get the form that was gotten for. You are putting at the disadvantage from the start if you understand politics. Because I'm being looked at as someone that is not even worthy of the form I'm taking. That's why we are advocating that there should be low expression of interest and nomination form fee so that everyone can afford it and everyone can have a level playing ground. Because if everyone cannot afford it and there's no level playing ground, and you are saying some should pick it up, you are putting them at a disadvantage from the start. People don't see it that way. But I've seen it that way for a whole lot of years, and I've been saying this that you need to allow a level playing ground. And level playing ground does not mean you give out form to some for based on gender, and then you ask them to pay. And then at the end of the day, you still don't allow those who give out form for free to even have active participation in what you are doing. What they are trying to do in that essence is all righteousness so that people will not say anything. That is what they are trying to do. So it is actually a very, very serious one. And I think because I don't know, local government election 30 million naira. Rose is very crazy.
It is.
It is very crazy. I don't know whether it's because the federal allocation is now coming to local government coffers that people believe that local government is now lucrative, that we should run there. But if the essence of democracy is a government that is for the people, and the people will run, and it's going to be to the people, then I think what we are doing is not a sustainable means to ensure that we have more women in political participation. And I've said that unless we start having women in our political space, we'll keep running the government like we've been running the government. It's not gotten
headway.
Some will argue, but I said one of the time we enjoyed most was when we had a woman as our coordinating minister of economy. Though she faced a lot of battle, but we know where she is today. Some school of thought to argue otherwise that we had a minister for coordinating economy. Also have a woman as minister for petroleum and vice versa. I tell them, go through the archive of the ICPC and see how many women that held political office has been charged and see the percentage of men that held political office that has been charged. So
it's just a lot
because of the one that cannot say that women are not. No, we need them. And our democracy needs them to thrive. We need them, our democracy. Try it and see. Let's a man single-handedly raise a child. You will see the downside of it. There are some aspects that the child will miss out. Try it. Let a woman single-handedly raise a child. No matter how perfect she is, you will still see some downside. The absence of a man. And this is why I said the unit, the way God created everything to be balanced, man and woman side by side, working together to ensure that there is dominion and there is prosperity in the world. And for Nigeria democracy to be more mature and to thrive, men and women have to come side by side in political office to ensure that democracy is stronger and the dividends of democracy get to the people.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. If you, as somebody who wants to go for local government chairman, you can afford this 30 million naira, I think they need to go and check you. You need to raise EFCC, bro. Say, where this man for just local government election, you get 30. Where you get her from? It needs to raise, eyebrows, and they need to actually check it and see where that money is coming from. If not, 30 million for local government. And then when we now want to look at House of Reps, we want to look at Senate, we want to look at governorship, then what happens? We're not even talking about presidential tickets. What then happens? It's just a lot. So this actually brings the question to, if we leave this to keep going on, thank God we're talking about, and I hope that a lot of other media organizations will see this and pick this up, so that we have credible people. When we make some of these leadership positions less attractive, then maybe we might begin to see genuine people who have the country at heart, who have their local government citizens at heart, who have their ward level people at heart. So I'm just, it's just funny and crazy how we're pegging all of this kinds of outrageous amounts of money, and yet we want to see true leadership. How now? As our Gen Z we say, as how. Anyway, we'll leave it at here, but we'll keep talking about this. Hopefully we'll have other states who would not pick this up, or will bring theirs down to a level playing ground for women, for people living with disability, and to any other person who just has interest to take this up. Make it affordable, make it open to all. After all, it should be a level playing ground and not just for the rich. Because this one now that is spending 30 million naira to buy this thing, once he gets there, I'm sure he'll probably look for a way, one or two ways in which to recoup this money back for his father or from wherever he got it from. So I mean, it's something that needs all of us to actually sit down and really give it a huge thought. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming on the program today. We do appreciate your insight on our discussion for today.
Thank you very much for having me, Rose.
All right. So this is where we draw the curtains on the program today. Join us again next week, Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Right here on Women Radio. The program is Political Arena. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. A very big thank you to Benjamin, who has, in the studio for making sure that this actually goes seamless, and to each and every one of you who tuned in to listen, and to executive producer Tom Okewale Shonaya. Do well to enjoy the rest of the day, and I just hope that we get it right in this country. Elections are just around the corner, and we'll definitely see women who are coming up. So I hope that we get to know them really well and give them our support. Do well to have a great day and stay with us right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Good afternoon.
Never sounded so cool.
I've been in 1 year this morning. She gave this to Benjamin, and I'm the one here.